Okay, dokie. I think we pretty much got to the last part of it. Um, of the end in regards to reading before it turned off. Um, but yeah, he has some issues in regards to the 49 years, 77s, and all that. That's it's you don't expect people to have everything correct. So let's see here. Then he says, after 62 weeks, which is after the 69 weeks, time shall be spun out. If that's in regards to spawning it out, in regards of putting the last week into the future, that's of course rubbish. But again, that's the thing, right? Some people want to take those 2 weeks and put them they put them together. They either put them in the past or in the future. That's usually the two parts that is out there. Shall be spun out, and he shall set forth a covenant with many for 1 week, and in half of the week sacrifice and drink offerings shall be taken away, and upon the temple shall be an abomination of desolation. And we have another one in regards of, for after 62 weeks was fulfilled, and after Christ has come. Well, again, you have to remember, if you take it out, you have 7 weeks, then you have 62 weeks, or 77s and 62 sevens. That's 69 sevens in total. Then after the 62 sevens, which is after the 69 sevens in total, comes the Messiah, who is cut off in the week around 30 AD. Now the last week, or the last 1/7, or 7 years, is actually, in regards to the 70 weeks, it's actually ending with, 34 AD is the last year. So 35 AD is beyond the 70 weeks. Anyway, but of course, Yeshua or Jesus is cut off around 30 AD. So anyway, now then the prophecy goes into future things beyond 34 AD. It goes into 70 AD, where the city and the temple was destroyed. And then it continues into future things. And then we had the last week of time, which is nothing to do with the 70 weeks, but it's just another 7 years of in time things. Anyway, for after 62 weeks was fulfilled, and after Christ has come, and the gospel has been preached in every place, times having been spun out, the end remains 1 week away. So times having been spun out, the end remains 1 week away. But anyway, he understands that there is a week in the future at least. So whether he connects it, which I was kind of trying to figure out if he actually connected it with the 70 week or not. But yeah, anyway, because it is kind of a little elusive in regards to things. The end remains 1 week away, in which Eliyahu and Enoch shall be present, and in its half, the abomination of desolation, the Antichrist, he believes it's the Antichrist, shall appear, who threatens desolation of the world. Now, of course, we know it's an idol that is going to stand in the temple of the Antichrist. But anyway, after he comes, sacrifice and drink offerings, which now in every way is offered by the nations to God, shall be taken away. So we have the first part of the week, and then we have a stop. Then the temple is defiled, and the last 3.5 years. Someone says Hippolytus seems to interpret these as spiritual sacrifices, not literal sacrifices of the rebuilt temple. Really? I didn't really get that, but maybe, maybe you could say, well, nah. Anyway, I didn't really, But anyway, that's the document. So that's pretty much the document about the 70 weeks. I didn't really get his if he actually believes that the 70 week is in the future or not. He clearly talks about that, of course, Christ being dead, and of course, that happens in the 70 week. So, yeah, but anyway, it's just pretty easy. The solution is that there's 2 different weeks, That's the solution for the madness. Yeah, his view that the 77s is in Babylon and all that is kind of weird because it tells you that there's like a starting point in regards of when the city is going to be. From that on, you have to start counting and all that. So that was kind of odd as well. Um, yeah. For also in the 20th and first year, Daniel sees these things in Babylon. So, nah, it doesn't really. Nope. No, I think you got that wrong. Anyway, that was the document on that. Now, on the computer, I do have some more things in regards to the 70 week and the 1260 and all that. And somewhere. Oh, my brain needs a break. I really should stop. I also just got a Facebook thing for hate speech and all that. Can't speak the truth, regards of feminism and all that. You get thrown out. Can't handle that. Anyway, let's see here. Oh, we had the Syrian stuff, yeah. What do we have here? That was Ephraim, the Syrian, or Syrian, whatever. Let's see here if we can find. Do we have the rapture in pseudo Ephraim? Again, the rapture is just the 144,000 that gets raptured. So it's actually not that, kind of not that difficult when you kind of, get beyond the madness that is out there in regards to things, So let's see how in regards to like, mid-trip or post-trip, no, mid-trip or pre-trip and all that. Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. One just is like pre-3.5 years, and the other is in the mid of the 7 years. It's the same time, it's the same event. It's just saying it in 2 different ways. It's not that difficult to understand. And I could see when the people was pushing this rapture nonsense and all that, I could see how it was dishonestly twisted to like, oh, the rapture is just around the corner. So when you talk like, and again, there's 2 tribulations, period. There's one for the Gentiles, one for the Jews. So, like, you first have the tribulation of the Gentiles, and then later on you have the tribulation of the Jews, of Israel. So, of course, the rest of the world, but it's like it's tipping from the Gentile in period. It tips over to the Jews again, to the focus on the Jews. So. Pseudo Ephraim's rapture statement. And what statement is it? Well, he has a sermon on the last times, the Antichrist, and the end of the world. My brain just can't hold anymore. It's just I need a break from it all. But anyway, the document is there. On the last times, the Antichrist and the end of the world. See here if it's the whole document. Yeah, it seems like it's... Yeah, it seems to be the whole document. And I guess we can find something with 1260 days maybe. No? Let's see, week. Should be, no, nothing with a week. Weeks 3.5 maybe? No? Okay. Well, it should be something in the document about it. The evil one and blah blah blah. As far as I can see, this should be at least. A brief history of the rapture. There's no rapture. You know, the rapture that is in there is not like the people believe in regards to the rapture. Maybe I should just make a video on that. Although kind of... Yeah, but there's no rapture. No rapture as people believe it to be. There's like tribulation for the Gentiles in seal 6. Then you have the tribulation mostly for the Jews. There's tips from the Gentiles to the Jews at the 6th seal. And then the Israelis or the Israelites have their thing, you know. Is it in like voice or something like that on the last time? Maybe it's on YouTube. Yeah, I was kind of a little disappointed about Hippolytus, you know. At least in regards to Daniel, the document on Daniel. At least in regards to that thing, you know. Okay, but anyway, should have the other one. We also have the Council of Hiera. Oh, we have this. We remove your content on Facebook for hate speech. Yeah. I'm such a hater, you know. It's just terrible hater. Okay, let's see here. This is the document from Hippolytus' commentary on Daniel version 12. We had 26, 8, and 50 and 2. And we also have like, let's see here. Actually, I think that was what we actually read, right? Then he says, after 62 weeks, time shall be spun out. Well, it doesn't say that times is spun out, you know, so I'm not sure where he gets that from. It says it's like, well, all exhausted. Well, yeah. But I guess what he's, you know, if they're going to try to make the 70 week into the future week and all that. And he shall set forth, then he says, after 62 weeks, time shall be spun out, and he shall set forth a covenant with many for 1 week. And in half of the week, sacrifice and the drink offering shall be taken away, and upon the temple shall be an abomination of desolation. And further, for after 62 weeks was fulfilled, and after Christ has come. There we go, Christ has come. What does it say in the text? It says that after 69 weeks or 62 weeks, the Messiah is going to be cut off. When was he cut off? In the 70 week. There is no future 70 week. Okay? There is a future week of time, but has nothing to do with the 70 week. For after 62 weeks was fulfilled. I'm just, you know, I had these 3 hours where I went through all of the stuff, and sadly the sound just didn't work. And it was I think it was very good video where I had the energy, and I, you know, was just going forward and didn't go off topic or anything like that for 3 hours. And I'm not sure if I can. I was so sad. That was a good one, but apparently the sound didn't work. I felt like, oh, that was a good one I made there. You know, it's like it didn't go off topic. I kept to the point. We, you know, pretty much saw it. You know, like, yeah. Nope. For after 62 weeks was fulfilled, and after Christ has come, and the gospel has been preached in every place, Times having been spun out, the end remains 1 week away, or 1 week, in which Eliyahu and Enoch shall be present, and in its half the abomination of desolation, the Antichrist shall appear, who threatens desolation of the world. After he comes, sacrifice and drink offering, which now in every way is offered by the nations to God, shall be taken away. So again, as far as I can see as well, in regards of, you have the two prophets, which are actually the 144,000, which also is Eliyahu and Yochanan, as far as I can see it from a biblical perspective. But anyway, they will be in half of the week. Then you have half of a week where the Antichrist stops the sacrifices. So again, we know there will be a future temple, because we know in regards to trumpet 6, you have the two witnesses. The two olive trees would be the 144,000 Israelis that was chosen in seal 6. You have those probably being led by Eliyahu and Yochanan. But anyway, you have those two olive trees prophesying for 3.5 years or 42 months. Then after their witness is done, they are killed by the Roman beast in the middle of the week, and after 3.5 days they come to life, because they are the first fruit of Jesus. So that's the rapture. But you see, they die before they are raptured 3.5 days, which might have something to do that there is 3.5 years left. Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, and then Jesus comes back with the 144,000, and then you have the second so-called rapture. If you want to use the Latin thing and all that, there you go. That's the raptures. Yeah, it's not the we just disappeared. Now, and that's, of course, when Jesus returns, that's at the very end. There we go. So, that's kind of, you probably can't see it, but some of this kind of thing, right? So, anyway, you probably can't see this another. But anyway, it's not that difficult. And of course, the 144,000, they're chosen at the Great Tribulation of the Gentiles at seal 6. There we go. And those 144,000 goes on. They continue on to, they are killed in the 6th trumpet. So they go from the 6th seal to the 6th trumpet. They are sealed. They are protected by God. Not like the rest who are going to be murdered and butchered and all that. But anyway, and these 144,000 are speaking the truth. They are, they haven't been defiled by any women. And doesn't really seem to be that difficult, really. Hopefully I'm getting it right, but it doesn't, when it begins to click, 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 like, oh, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense in regards to all the madness that is out there. Anyway, so you have a last week, which is not the 70 week. It's just 7 years, 7 last years, right? 7 last years. And it begins, those 7 last years begins at the 2 witnesses in the 6th trumpet. So there you go. It doesn't even have anything to do with the tribulation of the Gentiles in seal 6. So, and of course, after the world has killed the saints from, all those Christians and all that, then the trumpet begins to, then judgment upon the world and all that. And then, of course, you have the end game of the Jews for the last 7 years, and their period. And I think it might be what people call Jacob's trouble. I'm not totally sure in regards of the things. There's a lot of more further research. But Jacob's trouble doesn't seem to be the same as the Gentile time. In time. So we have the Gentiles pretty much at seal 6, and then it tips over to the Jews. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Okay, seal 6. There we go. That's the tipping point. Seal 6. Seal 6 is the tipping point of the Gentiles to the Jews, to the Israeli, to Israel. So at the moment, it's like, you have the Jews in Israel now, but we're still in the Gentile period and all that. So now, of course, the Gentile things continues as further into things in regards to the end time, but then it like boom, Jesus comes back, Israel is made great again. But the tipping point of the focus, where it goes from the Gentiles to the Jews again, that is pretty much there. Okay, so let's see here. We had we pretty much, didn't we read 26:8, or maybe that's before that? Yeah, so we got his information on that, although I didn't really see like where he says like the 70 week is, it's more elusive. So maybe he's a little unsure himself in regards of it, but it does seem like it could have, that it could be something in regards of maybe thinking that the 70 week is the future week, but of course that's erroneous. But he doesn't really directly say, and that was what I had hoped for. He does say that Jesus has died and all that, which of course would be the 70 week, and if that happened in the 70 week, it's kind of not future, right? Anyway, let's see here. 26:8. For it occurred in that time, 3.5 years, the most holy place continued desolate, and the 1,300 days were fulfilled by the uprising of Judas Maccabee after the death of Matthias his father, and withstood Antiochus and routed the army of Antiochus. I can't even, Antiochus, whatever, and freed, that's the Greek guy, and freed the city and recovered the holy vessels, renewed the temple, doing everything according to the law. But wait a minute. Why does he say like I think he gets something, and it occurred in that time 3.5 years. No, you have 2,000. I think he's mixing up some. We had 2,300 nights and days, which is like 2,300 dailies, because the daily is like 2 times a day. So you have 1,550 days in total, right? Oh, did I? Wait a minute. No, am I getting that wrong? Let's see. Divided by, no, my brain is not working. Okay, 1,250 days. Yeah, that's what you get. But why is he getting like these? For it occurred in the time 3.5 years, the most holy place continued desolate, and the 1,300 days. 1,300 days were fulfilled by the uprising. Where does he get the 1,300 days? He's talking about the 2,000. Maybe it's a mistranslation, because we have like 2,300 or some. Maybe he just wrote wrong. You can make mistakes when you write and all that. But 1,300 days were fulfilled by is he talking about the 2,300? It's just a little, Anyway, okay, let's take the next one. That's but he does talk about the Greeks. Let's see here. We'll go to 52 or something in regards of the just as also he spoke to Daniel, and he shall establish a covenant with many for 1 week, and it will be that in the half of the week, or will strengthen a covenant, pretty much in the Hebrew. So, what covenant would he be strengthening? What is the Jews doing? They're sacrificing again. So what is he strengthening? Maybe the covenant, the Jewish covenant, or the covenant of, making, sacrifices and all that, as in regards of Moses. So just as also he spoke to Daniel, he shall establish a covenant with many for 1 week, and it will be that in the half of the week he shall take away my sacrifice and drink offering, so that 1 week may be shown as divided into 2. So after the 2 witnesses will have preached for 3.5 years, the Antichrist will wage war against the saints, a reminder of the week. So, so there we go. So he puts which also they have to be there, but he puts the 2 prophets in the beginning, as we also pretty much did here. He puts them 2 trumpets, 2 witnesses, and he puts them there. And I really should, if I had something. This is a little small. I would have liked to have do I have some bigger paper set? I don't think I have. But yeah, so like just fixing the. So it's the 2 witnesses, first half of the week, at the end of end. And then the Antichrist afterwards gets his. But it's against mostly in regards to the Jews, because the Christian, the Gentile tribulation is pretty much done and over at that time. Then God begins to judge the world, which again ends with the Jews, thinking. Yeah, it kind of, kind of have. Doesn't matter, it's like, people like all sorts of confusion and all that. I still need to sort out in regards of the bowls of wrath, because they seem to be around the 6th trumpet. And the question is, when are they actually, like the last 3.5 years or something like that? We'll have to see. Anyway, for 3.5 years, the Antichrist will wage war against the saints, the reminder of the week, and will desolate all the world, so that what was spoken may be fulfilled. And they will give the abomination of desolation 1,290 days. Then we have for the 1,290 days. Now, again, which is, it could still be in some sense talked about being 3.5 years, but because sometimes there's another, month in a year. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happens in regards to this 1,290, because also we have like 1,335, which again, these periods, I'm not sure how they totally fit together. But apparently he seems to believe that, and they will give, all the world, so that was spoken will be maybe fulfilled, and they will give the abomination of desolation 1,290 days. Blessed is he who endures to Christ and reaches the 1,335 days. So apparently he seems to believe that. Oh, wait a minute. That's interesting, actually. Like, okay, let's see here. So we have 1,260 here, only 42 months. Yeah, and then the other, if the other period is like, let's say 1290 days, which is actually 43 months, and yet he actually fixes the one that, because maybe we have like a time where Jesus actually, you have the bowls of wrath, right? And you have a period of time where they of course are poured out. I'm not entirely sure exactly where they are poured out, but they were like 44.5 months. So the first period we pretty much have sorted out, right? Because we have the two witnesses, 1260 days. That's pretty much solid. I have 1290 days. Yeah, as in regards of the time, yeah. Oh. There might be, yeah. But he apparently believes they will give the abomination of desolation 1,290 days. So that would be the idol standing here in 1,290 days according to him, See here, let's make a little figure here, whatever. And that will be for 1,290 days, and then we have the two prophets up here, the two olive trees, in sackcloth, if I recall correctly. So we have the two, and they die, they go up, and then we have the idol. I should have probably have made the idol a little differently, like whatever. And then after the 1,290 days, that will be done. Then you have 45 days, I guess, where things might be happening. I don't know. At least we have. Or is that like? Yeah, that's a good question, right? How that totally works out, People trying to fix it in. Why would they do that? Like, makes completely sense that the trumpet comes after this period, because now that they've been killed. Well, anyway, I guess one can only try to do the best in regards of sorting out prophecy. But yeah, it kind of makes you, like, when you see that seal 6 is kind of the, the tipping point of the Gentiles, you see the tribulation. And it's not like it's totally over for the Gentiles, but it's like just at the tipping point where it tips to the focus on the Jews. So the Gentiles are still, there's still some things in regards to the Gentiles and all that. But it just seems to be the tipping point where it returns to more things in regards to the Jews. Focus on the Jews. So we have a lot of prophecy and all that, how that all gets together. But like all this rapture nonsense doesn't help on it, because there's no rapture. Not in the sense that people believe the rapture, So, yeah. So how these numbers is fixed, I'm not sure. But anyway, the rapture at least. Like all these puzzle pieces, it's just not easy. And they will give the abomination of desolation 1,290 days. Blessed is he who endures to Christ and reaches the 1,335 days. I don't recall that it actually says that it endures to Christ, so I think that's what he inserts into it. Yeah. Daniel. There we go. Daniel. It's like the 12. Blessed is he who is waiting earnestly and comes to the 1,335 days. It doesn't say anything in regards of Christ. Of course, it is at the point where clearly Christ is going to come to earth at some point, very close in regards of the, in regard how, this and that and all that. That's a good question. So Baruch is he who is, blessed is he who is waiting earnestly and comes to the 1,335 days. And from the time that which is continual is taken away, the sacrifices and the abomination that lays waste is placed is 1,290 days. And then the question also is, how do we how is this to be understood, right? Because you could also understand that there will be 1,290 days for. And from the time that which is continual is taken away. So from the time that which is continual is taken away, and the abomination that lays waste is placed, is 1,290 days. So it's are we talking about 1,290 days on one side or the other side? Of course, and from the time which the continual is the sacrifices is taken away. Is taken away, and the abomination that lays waste is placed, and the abomination. So it's taken away, and it's like a stupid comma, I think that is put because you can kind of understand it on two different levels, it's just from the continual is taken away, there is 1,290 days for the abomination that lays waste, or is it the continual taking away, the abomination of waste is placed. That seems to be how people understand it, and how it is to be understood. I think also in regards of from the Daniel 9 as well. It also seems, it makes sense, but you have to be careful sometimes in regards of. And on the wing of abomination he lay. And he shall confirm a covenant, or strengthen a covenant. Or strengthen maybe the covenant, in regards of God's covenant, with many for 1 week, because he's going to look like the Messiah, right? For the Jews, he's going to try to, he's going to deceive the Jews for some time at least. And maybe some of them will most likely be deceived throughout the whole thing. But anyway, and he shall confirm a covenant with many, or strengthen a covenant with many for 1 week. Or strengthen the covenant. I'm not sure how in regards to the Hebrew here in regards of, but there's two different choices here at least in regards of. Anyway, and in the middle of the week he shall put an end to slaughtering and meal offering, and on the wing of abomination he lay waste, even unto the complete end, and that which is decreed is put out on the one who lays waste. The question is in regards of the the abomination, that is laid up, is that you have a covenant for 7 years, and in the middle of the week he shall put an end to slaughtering and meal offering. So we know that the slaughtering and meal offering absolutely will be stopped in the middle of the week, and on the wing of abomination she shall lay waste, even until the complete end, and that which is decreed is put out on the one who lays waste. But the question is the idol put in the temple at the moment where the slaughtering is stopped and defiling the temple from that point on? It wouldn't make sense, right? But sometimes you have to be careful in regards of things. But at least that's the best that I can do at the moment. From the time that which is continual is taken away. That's again the sacrifices and the abomination. It sounds a little like when you read it and from the time that which is continual is taken away, and from the time, right, that the continual is taken away, and then a comma here, and the abomination that lays waste is placed, is 1,290 days. It sounds more like okay, it's taken away, and then the abomination, the idol of abomination, is set up 1290 days afterwards. Which then would be even less time that the idol would actually be there, if that would be so, but it would make sense that the sacrifices is taken away and the idol is put up at that point of time. It's just and from the time that which is continual is taken away, right? So from the time which the continual is taken away, and that's taken away in the middle of the week. Like we see that in Daniel 9, right? We have one of the number. Like, and he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week, and in the middle of the week he shall put an end to slaughtering and meal offering. So that's the continual. So in the middle of the week, he takes it away after 3.5. And I heard a man dressed in linen. And from the time that which is continual is taken away, the sacrifices, And it's just like, and then there's like a comma, but like, and from the time that which is, it kind of like, and from the time that which is continual taken away, and the abomination that lays waste is placed, is 1290 days. So, and from the time that which is continual is taken away, and the abomination that lays waste is placed, is 1290 days. It kind of just sounds like that, the continual is taken away, and then the abomination that lays waste is placed, like after 1290 days. But it's like, I don't know. Does that, But that's not how many have understood it for sure in regards to things. And from the time that which is continual on the sacrifice, so from the time that the sacrifices is taken away, and the abomination that lays waste is placed, is 1290 days. So, is this saying that there is 1290 days, from the time where the continual and the abomination is placed, is 1290 days? Or is it saying that the continual is taken away, and then there's 1290 days for the abomination to be placed? It's, I guess, whether one understands or not, it will be shown, right? So, yeah. I have like, oh well, so, but yeah, Hippolytus clearly seems to understand that. So for 3.5 years, the Antichrist will wage war against the saints the remainder of the week, or the remainder of the 7 years, right? And will desolate all the world, so that was spoken may be fulfilled, and they will give the abomination of desolation 1290 days. And they will give the abomination of desolation 1290 days. Blessed is he who endures to Christ and reaches the 1335 days. So So he seems to believe that the one that endures to Christ would be after like 1335, seems to be in regards to Christ returning according to him, it seems. So we have some periods in regards of things. I wonder in regards to the bowls. Maybe the bowls are poured out very, very quickly at that point. Maybe it's a very minuscule period where you have to be put out. Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, it's not easy. That's for sure. But yeah, in regards to the rapture, many people will just do so much time on the rapture thing. The pre-rapture, the mid-rapture is just the 7 years, Whether it's in the, it's all in the middle, but it's pre 3.5 years or in the middle of the 7 years. Now, of course, those 3.5 years might be, it seems to be a little more than 3.5 years. You have the 1290 and 1335. Yeah. Blessed is he who endures to Christ and reaches the 1335 days. That's what Hippolytus is saying. So he seems to believe that Christ's return is at the 1335 day. But yeah, the question, of course, is in regards to how does these numbers work out, So. How could I get that wrong? Okay, Jacob's trouble, 7 last years. Well, the 70 week in the past, 70 week. The 70 week, we have 1 week. And Christ, of course, died. .30 AD and 70 weeks stopping at 34 AD is the last year of the 70 week, and then of course you have the temple destroyed and all that. I don't know how you would kind of fit it into well, I guess if you had Photoshop, at least in the past, should have been. Oh well, it is what it is. Okay, so this is one of the times. What does he say? For then there shall be great persecution like which there has not been from the foundation of the world, while others from here and there are sent against every city and land in order to kill those who believe, and the Jews cheer at their destruction, and the nations rejoice, and the unfaithful celebrate with them. But the saints coming from the west and the east, and others from the east to the south, are pursued, but others will hide in the mountains and the caverns. Everywhere the abomination will make war against them, even through the sea and through dry places. He will kill them through the command, and according to every way he will oppress them from the earth, and not allow them to sell some of their own possessions, nor to buy from another's things, unless one should carry on his hand the name of the beast, or one should bear his mark upon his forehead. And then all the faithful will be banished from every place, and will be displaced from their homes, and will be expelled from their cities, and will be swept away by the state, and they will be punished with every punishment, and will be cast out from the world. And so it is needful to consider the coming persecution of the saints at that time, and the distress, for it is necessary for us, from what was partially occurred already, to reflect on the future things, that such distress and upheaval in all the world will occur, and everywhere all the faithful will be killed and slaughtered in every city and land, and the blood of the righteous will be poured out, and men will be burned alive, and others will be thrown to beasts, and infants in the womb shall be murdered, and all shall be, oh, that's interesting, yeah, and infants in the womb shall be murdered. Yeah. And all shall be hurled away unburied, and shall be eaten by dogs. Both virgins and women shall be corrupted in openness, and shall be shamefully marked, and be captured, and they shall dig up the graves of the saints, and destroy the remains, and they shall hurl them unto the plain, and they shall become blasphemous. Then there shall be upheaval in the cities, when the saints are persecuted from there. There will be upheaval in the roads and the deserts, when all wish to be hidden there. There will be upheaval in the sea, when all attempt to flee through water. There will be upheaval in the iceland, when all seek to go there. And then the earth will be barren for the saints, and every city uninhabitable, and the sea unnavigable, and all the world a desert, and they are destroyed by famine, and faint from thirst, but others die from fear and from the great persecution. But then how will a man hide? To whom shall his own children run? How after his belongings have been carried off shall he preserve them, when he has not able to save his own soul? Then there will be many wailings of infants, lamentations of both fathers and mothers, loud cryings of both wives and virgins, moans of both brothers and cousins. Then will one mourn another, brother will not mourn brother, for he also expects death. Mother will not mourn daughter, for she also expects death. Father will not mourn son, fearing that he also will be killed. On account of this, the Lord, foreseeing these things, says, pray that your flight does not happen in the winter on the Sabbath. You ought not to rest from righteousness, nor engage in the matter of this life, as in winter, lest that day unknowingly befall or fall upon you as a trap. For if, he says, those days were not curtailed, not any flesh would be saved, but on account of the elect, whose those days will be curtailed, I guess, shortened. But after the persecution of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its splendor, and the stars shall burn out and fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then they shall see the Son of Man coming with power and great glory. So at least we know that's where Jesus returns. So we have one data point at least in regards to that. Well, a synchronization. We know, okay, he's going to come back right at the end time. But again, fitting all the puzzle pieces, that's another thing, you know. That's clearly not as easy. Oh my. I'm so tired, you know. Yeah. I just wish I knew it all, you know, because there's so much nonsense out there. Maybe I shouldn't use too much time on all this prophecy and all that. You know, it happens as it happens, right? Where did I go? think I lost the place where I was. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm just worn out. I think I'll take a break. May Jehovah be with you, and Yeshua, most precious pearl, and the Spirit of truth be in us all. Amen.